Hello everybody, this is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor. I'm here at the 2025 Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas. Now this conference is one of the largest industry events in the world, with thousands of industry professionals flying in from all over to see all of the latest developments and technologies in the offshore energy space. However, that's not all that this conference is about. It also provides an opportunity for students of all persuasions to come in and see a lot of these same developments and get closer to the industry professionals that help drive our world. Now, behind me right now, groups of high school students from the Houston area are participating in activities designed to give them a greater understanding of how we extract and produce energy. This is all part of the Energy4me Student STEM Workshop. Energy4me is a program from the Society of Petroleum Engineers that is centered around energy education, and events like this are designed to help provide a greater understanding of the energy that powers our world.
The workshop, which was sponsored by ExxonMobil, saw 95 students from high schools and middle schools across the greater Houston area come to OTC to learn the science behind oil and gas exploration and production. The day started with hands-on activities developed and taught by instructors from the National Energy Education Development Project, or NEED, a leading provider of energy education programs and materials to schools in the U.S. One such activity, Getting the Oil Out, involved students mimicking artificial lift systems with the use of drinking straws, masking tape, and various liquids of differing viscosities, like soda and chocolate syrup. The students had to determine which length of straw required the most effort to bring a given liquid to the top, and which length of straw required the least effort. Vernon Kimball, program director at NEED, said the activity was a good way for students to see the challenges that come with getting crude oil out of the ground.
And it takes a little bit of suction power to do that. A big difference between trying to lift a carbonated beverage up and trying to lift something like Hershey's chocolate syrup. But that's what the industry faces, is different types of crude oil. Some of it's very thick and viscous, some of it's as runny as water. And we just tried to get kids aware of the fact that not all crude oil is the same.
Another activity, the Offshore Challenge, allowed students to get acquainted with the challenges of working remote operations. Students were divided into teams and given various roles: petroleum engineer, drilling engineer, reservoir engineer, HSE specialist, and the drilling equipment. The students acting as the drilling equipment were blindfolded and given instructions from the other team members on finding a nut and a bolt, assembling that nut and bolt, and dropping it into a cup. Mr. Kimball said the participatory instruction was a key component for the students to better understand the activities.
We are firm believers that kids need to touch it, they need to see it, they need to smell it, they need to taste it, not necessarily all of those things, but they need to experience those things as hands-on activities to be able to remember and relate it to real life. We are big advocates of using kids to teach kids. Make the kids become an expert in a certain aspect of education about energy, and then make them responsible for teaching their classmates. What we find is when they are held responsible for doing the teaching of some of these concepts, they learn it at a greater depth. They learn it at a greater level. And then in teaching their classmates, and their classmates would be held for teaching another portion of it perhaps, everybody is learning that material at a greater depth.
Later in the day, students walked the OTC Exhibition floor, getting a first-hand look at some of the latest technologies coming into the offshore energy space. When asked about their favorite parts of the tour, the students, not surprisingly, had an assortment of answers.
What was the coolest thing that you saw today on the floor?
Probably this remote operated vehicle that could go underwater and grab objects off the sea floor without any people on it.
Had you ever seen anything like that before?
No.
I think one of my favorite things is when we were learning about like, there's this tool. I actually have the keychain from it. It's high torque.
Oh.
Yeah, and they have like this thing that they put whenever, I think it's like on ships, whenever they're turning and like spinning little nuts and bolts, there's like a risk of it coming off or not being tight enough. So they have this and it like suctions it so it tightens better. And I thought it was really cool because I got to actually use one of the drills and do it myself. And it was like actually really fun to do.
For the 4 tours I've done, I really like them. The first one was basically about like a magnetic pipe. The second one I really liked was about a submersible you can control. The third one was about kind of like, it was about the robot dog, but it fell asleep. So.
Was that, so you actually got to see the robot dog?
Well, we got to see it working, but not while we were at the station.
Oh,
like
no.
Napping. But we saw it strolling around and we asked the questions then.
Okay.
And the fourth one we had was about like a laser technology that like helps weld. And I really liked them. I learned a lot.
I think it was the Lincoln Company. They had this kind of like automated welding systems that would like latch onto pipes and it would just weld things together instead of having somebody manually weld it, which I thought was really cool.
Crystal Johnson, a CTE teacher of engineering and robots at Carl Wunschke Senior High School, has been taking her students to this workshop for the past 5 years. She said the floor tour provides a valuable function in connecting abstract concepts taught in the classroom with real-world applications.
And when we move to the tour, here they go. They're like, wait, let me pay attention. Here's an adult that I don't know that and some of the things that my kids have shared with me over the years, Ms. Johnson, I didn't realize that oil and gas was all over the world. I take it for granted that they're globally aware. That I remember I'm dealing with teenagers who this may not be in their everyday realm.
For the students, the day provided a great opportunity to learn more about how the oil and gas industry affects their everyday lives.
Well, it was really fun. It was really interesting. I think I definitely learned a lot from not just like the activities that we did like in this room, but also like being on the floor and like hearing from like the experts themselves. I think I was able to like really just learn a lot.
It's really worldwide. Like it was so weird seeing people from like Italy, from like Africa. Like there were people from everywhere. It was like really like it made it. There's so much potential in the oil and gas industry, and because I was always told it was a dying industry, but it was like this makes it look completely different.
The whole basis of our projects coming into this workshop was knowing how dependent the world is on plastics, but learning how the process is with these workshops, learning how to extract the petroleum and how the processes work. We understand more about how it affects the environment, where are the pros and cons of petroleum extraction, and I think that was very good.
Thank you for watching. From the 2025 Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas, this is Stephen Whitfield. Thanks for visiting drillingcontractor.org.